Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
All right. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. Sam Bushman live for Liberty Roundtable live. This is the broadcast for October the 14th in the year of our Lord 2025, promoting God, family, country, protecting life, liberty, and property. That's who we are. That's what we do. We reject revolution unless it's a Jesus revolution. Then we're in because we follow the Prince of Peace. Welcome to the show. So much to cover, so little time. We're going to have two guests today. Sheriff Richard Mack with us. Eldon Stahl will be with us. So John Birch Society meets the good sheriff. You got to like that. There's a couple of things to highlight before we get them on with us, though. Number one, day 14 of the shutdown. Vote number 8 coming up. It's deadlocked, ladies and gentlemen. Government is 100% dysfunctional. Why Congress can vote themselves to pay themselves while the shutdown's happening and no one else gets paid is beyond me. Now, when I say no one else get paid, that's an extreme statement because some people are getting paid, Congress, others, because they're not part of the shutdown. See, government doesn't really shut down. It's only like 5-10% shutdown. And they want you to believe that it's all-encompassing. It's not. They want you to suffer so that you feel like, oh, man, this is horrible. But it's really not. They shut down certain aspects of, and I don't know how to say this, federal parks. There's no constitutional provisions for federal or national parks. So that alone is problematic. The states need to step up and take care of their responsibility. Nevertheless, they want you to just feel the pain. They want you to suffer. But I'm saying to you right now, it's day 14 of the shutdown. We're on vote number 8. It's going to be failed as they're deadlocked, ladies and gentlemen. Both sides digging in further. But it's starting to affect more and more and more people. The only acceptable path forward, in my opinion, ladies and gentlemen, open proper government, one honest constitutional bill at a time. That's the only way really to open the government. And if something's not constitutional, but you say, Sam, it's essential, just take, for example, the WIC program, assistance for mothers and children and such like that. Donald Trump says that can be paid for by tariffs and it won't shut down. I pray he's right. They say, oh, what about the, what's another program? It's not WIC. It's, can't remember the name of it right now. Anyway, they say it's going to shut down. So we're all kinds of, well, it's time for churches and Christian organizations to step up, right? We don't need government to do this for us. We act like without government, it's the end of the world. It is not the end of the world without government, ladies and gentlemen. Remember, government doesn't produce anything. Government doesn't produce a single thing. Government, especially when it's unconstitutional government, is an absolute criminal, unnecessary, robbed from the American people at the point of the government gun scenario. Okay, it's wrong. We shouldn't be funding these programs at all. So I'm saying the solutions are for churches, are for nonprofits, are for philanthropists, are for these groups to step in and say, hey, we've got such Christian support, love the Lord thy God, love thy neighbor as thyself, to where we don't need federal government funding for WIC. Eldon Stahl, welcome to the program, sir.
Oh, great to be here. Thanks, Sam.
So what's that other program? You got WIC, government is going to stay open because the tariffs will pay for it, says Trump. What's that other one? It's a weird name they have. I can't remember what it's called.
Well,
Anyway.
It's Medicare, Medicaid.
Yes, but it's another one. It's a
SSI.
weird name. I'll try to look it up. Anyway, the bottom line is I'm saying this, Eldon. Day 14, government shutdown. They're all derelict in their duty. Government is 100% dysfunctional. They're on vote number 8 as well. And I say the only acceptable path forward open, proper government, one honest, one constitutional bill at a time. That's the way forward. But they're failing right now at every level in government that I can see. It's completely shut down, but it's really 95% open, right, Eldon?
Well, yeah. I kind of want to get a T-shirt that says, I survived the government shutdown, and it has all these lists. There's been like, I don't know, 18 different government shutdowns. We all survived just fine. Um, but the media seems to make it out as if it's this end of the world scenario. Maybe they just want the ratings. I don't know, but um, you know, yes, it is kind of traumatic for those that are working for the government in certain areas, but even if they lose their jobs, they probably have enough talent. Hopefully, they're doing a government job that is, um, can transfer elsewhere, and probably it's just
Oh,
temporary for a lot of them anyway.
I think that is the other name I was trying to think of is Snap. You got Wick and
Oh,
Snap,
snap!
and they all say
Yeah,
it's going to shut down. It's going to be the end of the world. It's horrible. But in my mind, it is really time
yeah,
for Christians and churches and philanthropy. I mean, where's Bill Gates? You know, Bill Gates is an American citizen. He's been funding all kinds of things all around the world, fake mosquito programs and everything else, shots and abortions and all kinds of
yeah.
destruction. Why doesn't he come back and just say, "Hell, me and Elon Musk, we decided that we're going to just take care of business, become the ultimate Christians." Sheriff Max with us. Welcome to the broadcast, sir.
Yeah, doesn't take me long, Sam. It's great to be with you and Eldon as well. Appreciate you being on. And this is a great topic because I've thought the same thing. The main thing that needs to happen.
Oh, Sheriff Max, you're breaking up a bit.
I
Keep
would
going.
say,
Keep going, Sheriff. All right, yeah, I don't know if it's breaking up. Maybe we want to get him on the radio side. If it's not good enough video on his phone, at least he could join. But yeah, I mean, we got Wick and we got Snap and we got those programs are going to be shutting down. But when are Christians going to take over? That's really what I want to know, Eldon. I think that's critical to understand. Why do we need the government to do Wick and Snap?
We don't, and you know that's something that we need to go back to is really taking care of each other. That's how really true charity exists. Charity. If you read, for example, The Christmas Story by Charles Dickens, you know that true charity doesn't come by plundering your neighbor and then doling out that money to others and then calling yourself, a philanthropist. that's that's of course the socialist model. Um, it was even starting to become popular back in what was the 1880s when that book was written, and he was warning against that really isn't the way that is appropriate uh, or just or merciful or charitable to take care of our neighbors.
And
It's
that's really the critical point that I'm making is that they make it sound like it's the end of the world. But I'm convinced
yeah,
that churches could take care of business. No problem with this. Private groups, nonprofit groups, philanthropists, Bill Gates, Elon Musk, Donald Trump, for that matter. You could start a fund and say, listen, we need a big fund to take care of this. This is the amount. This is the amount that it costs. And, I think there's a real opportunity here to set the standard of the proper role of limited government. It's like, hey, congressmen, senators, you're in a shutdown. Why don't you dedicate your $100,000, half your salary, 6 months, to this? You've got 435 House members, 100 senators, the president, philanthropists. I mean, you could raise the money in a heartbeat. Where are all the rock stars that could come and do a concert and raise a ton of money? I mean, we could bridge this gap in about 5 seconds, Sheriff Mack, if we tried. You there,
sounds like he's
Sheriff?
muted.
All right, we'll get the sheriff back. All I'm telling you is that this is something we really need to work on in America. Okay? I mean, government just doesn't seem to understand. It's not the only game in town. And whenever government's involved in something like this, you know what? It goes south. They spend $1 gazillion. Half the time the help never comes, or it comes in very minimal controlling from thousands of miles away, right? Let's do it at the local level where people can care for people, where we can make a real difference. Let's talk about it more in seconds. Sam Bushman, Eldon Stahl, the Good Sheriff. In seconds, you're watching and listening to Liberty Roundtable Live.
Attention collectors and savvy investors. We are excited to announce a momentous evolution in our journey. Introducing Freewater Coin Company, formerly known as Rust Coin and Gift. This rebranding takes us back to the very roots of where it all began. Freewater, Oregon. It's a tribute to the legacy of Al Rust and a celebration of 3 generations of dedication to excellence in the world of coins and precious gifts. Al, Brian, and Jake Rust standing strong through 64 years of service. Discover a world of exceptional service at Freewater Coin Company, your premier destination for genuine, honest money and precious gifts. Under Brian's expert guidance, Freewater Coin Company, building on the legacy of Rust Coin and Gift, continues its tradition of trust and excellence. Visit us at our Provo, Utah location. Explore our treasures online at freewatercoinco.com or call us at 801-377-1574. Freewater Coin Company, where your future is built one honest coin at a time.
Introducing Managed IT Services from NPI. We offer top-notch data backup and recovery, email spam protection, and network security tailored to your needs and budget. With 20-plus years of experience in the medical field, our HIPAA-certified consultants know what it takes to protect sensitive information. Don't settle for less. Give us a call at 801-706-6980 and experience the difference with Managed IT Services. Remember, your IT support should be fast, efficient, and reliable.
Introducing PrepStartsNow.com, your ultimate guide to readiness and peace of mind. We offer practical preparedness tools, training, and education to take your family's household readiness to the next level. Browse the prep shop for essential products, check out our planning guides, and stay informed with our prep blog. Visit PrepStartsNow.com and subscribe to our emails for exclusive offers, new products, and future events. Remember, preparedness begins with PrepStartsNow.com.
All right, bottom line is we're on day 14 of the shutdown, ladies and gentlemen. They're on vote 8. It's going to fail again, ladies and gentlemen. I'm telling you right now. And the problem is that we don't need to just wait on government. Mike Johnson has everybody going home. Shame on him. He should be opening government one line item at a time, one simple constitutional bill at a time. But he's not. They're all playing clown shows, Republicans and Democrats alike, House and Senate. But I've got a couple of headlines, Sheriff Mack, that I want to bounce off you and then let you rock and roll with your response. End WIC and SNAP.
This isn't
Let
working.
the church and private charity feed America again. The second headline that I have is this: government can't replace the church. It's time Christians take back compassion. Sheriff? All right, I think we lost the sheriff again. Eldon?
Okay, so yeah, I would agree with that. It really is the matter of, in a biblical sense, in Christian sense, repentance. It's not so much as a change in government policy that we need, but to have that change in government policy, we need to have just a change of heart of many people so that they understand that it's their responsibility. I would certainly recommend, as a start to understanding this concept, getting this little booklet. It's called Not Yours to Give. Some places are called Sockdology, or you can get it in a booklet. You could probably find this story online. It's taken from the life of Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett was a congressman. Many people don't know that. But basically, the story tells of how even in the 1830s, there was a fire that the Congress wanted to take care of these widows, I guess, and they wanted to appropriate money. And Davy Crockett, through one of his constituents, realized that, this really isn't his money to give. And that's not the role of government, to be involved in the business of charity. And, a generation earlier, James Madison, who was in the Congress at the time, and of course had been the father of our Constitution, part of the Constitutional Convention, pointed this out as well to his colleagues, that, if we can do anything that we consider, for the good of the country, for the general welfare, then why did we even write the Constitution and put all these, lists of specific things we can legislate on, if we can just say, well, do whatever you want as long as you think it's within the general welfare, that somebody will benefit.
There you have it. I got one more headline to highlight that kind of illustrates this. Revive true charity. America's churches and the private sector can end dependency. I mean, that's really what we need to focus on. And I don't see anybody, and there might be a few Christians that are doing it. Just because I can't find them, it doesn't mean nobody's doing it. But I don't really see anybody with a big push for this. But to me, this is the push we need to have. Okay? We need to end WIC and SNAP. We need to let church and the private sector feed America again. Government can't replace the church. It's time Christians take back compassion. We don't need bureaucracy to feed families. Faith and the free market can do it better. I mean, think of all these headlines I'm coming up with to illustrate this point. This is something we cannot overlook and we can't pretend isn't important, but I don't hear anybody really speaking out about this. What about this one? Faith over federal aid. Replace SNAP with church-led compassion. And they say we're not the compassionate conservatives.
Yeah, well, there are, I guess there's these health sharing ministries. You probably heard of those.
Yes, they're great.
Yeah. Could the concept be expanded to be about, say, helping people if they're in need of food, or maybe they're in need of other assistance, but also, of course, helping people learn that work is an element in things, that they've got to be able to learn skills. That a lot of churches are doing this to a certain extent, but this is something that once again goes back to us as a nation, just getting back to God and seeing God as our provider, and us as the hands of God, rather than saying, what we need to have is a bureaucracy that plunders from our neighbors to give to others. That's the socialist model. That's what Frederick Bastiat talked about and warned against in The Law. That's also a great short book, 75 pages, something like that. So many good little snippets from that book talks about that concept. That was, he was rebutting the socialists in his day in about 1850, right after the Communist Manifesto came out in France.
Yes.
Jeremiah, please look at your chat.
I know at first we get attacked and it's like, you guys aren't compassionate. You don't care about anybody, you this, you that. I personally think there could be much greater care at the local level. I think there could be much greater opportunity in the private sector. I think, even if you can't work, you know what? You can volunteer. There's so many things you can volunteer for. And you know what? People are willing to put dollars and cents into volunteer hours, if you will. You're volunteering to put some work hours in because maybe you don't have the skills for a job, but you can volunteer. You can make a difference. You can do something. And it's all about that, trying to get people to be able to do something. You with us now, Sheriff? Okay. We'll try to get Sheriff Mack back. I don't know. He's on the road traveling. It's a lot harder with video than it is audio sometimes when you're traveling. It's just the nature of the live beast that we face. But all I can tell you is, ladies and gentlemen, it seems to me that this is something that we really need to spend time on. Do you know anybody really spending a lot of time on this discussion, Eldon?
Well, that's a good question. I think certain segments of society people are doing this, but I think it deserves much more attention. There are, of course, some churches that are really being involved in helping others, getting their congregants to, or encouraging them to, provide the food and other things, so people don't, feel like, oh, my only alternative is, go to the government and beg for help. That's, it. A lot of times, you look at government help and you say, okay, the immediate need is filled in a way, but the might say unintended consequences, or perhaps intended, depending how you look at it, are ignored. And there's all these people that are worse off because the government got involved in the private sector, got involved in this pseudo charity business, deciding to, pat themselves on the back. But it's, there's so many different versions of it, but it all boils down to, this is just bad policy.
Let's ask a question. Aren't there tax breaks for charitable donations and stuff like that?
Say that again.
Aren't there tax breaks for charitable contributions and donations and such?
Yeah, a lot of times there are, right.
So all I'm saying is, can't we just expand that a little bit and say, listen, if you donate to your food pantry, a certain amount of money or food in kind and show the receipt or whatever else, that, you can get a tax break for this or whatever else. And it seems like shifting this to the private sector would be so easy if bright minds would just work on it. You start out with 20 rich people that say, I'll put in a bunch of money. Elon Musk, Donald Trump. Hopefully you get even liberals and conservatives on board for this. You get, Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce or whoever, and you get, a bunch of these people, and then you say, can you do us two things? One, donate a chunk of money. And then number two, can you advocate for this? And so then they hold a concert and they raise a bunch of money. And then you put a GoFundMe account up and Americans contribute. And whatever you contribute, you can get a tax break, a tax write-off for. And couldn't we change this to the private sector in literally like days, like minutes, hours?
Yeah,
this would be so easy, sir.
I was thinking the other day about just, these people are pushing these, they call them, they market them as school choice. There's a lot of problems with those, and that's for another day's discussion. But, a lot of employers provide for full-time employees, they provide a benefit, which is, health insurance, right? Which generally is supposed to provide for health care and, at least manage the cost of that. Well, why not have it be tax deductible for employers to provide education, for example, for the children of their employees? If they want to do that as an added benefit, great. That would open up just that area, and certainly you could do that in other things. If somebody needs food assistance or other assistance, they want
medical support, housing, the list goes on and on and on.
Yeah.
Bottom line, ladies and gentlemen, itemized deductions can be taken right now on your Schedule A or on your 1040. You can donate to qualified organizations recognized by the IRS, such as churches, schools, hospitals, and most registered 501c3 charities. It seems to me that, folks, you could just do this, no problem. You can do cash donations. Anyway, we can talk more about this, but I'm just telling you, this would be so easy to solve. Why am I the only one-man think tank around here? It's insanity. Hang tight. Liberty Roundtable Live.
How would you like to help this program reach more people and earn silver at the same time? Call or text 801-669-2211 for complete details.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Michael Harrington. The Keystone XL pipeline might be revived. Here's White House correspondent Greg Clugston.
During talks at the White House this past week, Canadian Prime Minister Carney raised the prospect of reviving the Keystone XL pipeline project with President Trump. That's according to a Canadian government official. The project was killed 4 years ago after Joe Biden canceled the permit. The pipeline was to transport crude from Western Canada to Nebraska. The Canadian official says Donald Trump was receptive to the idea. Greg Clugston, Washington.
It's back to work tomorrow for Wall Street, with many wondering whether the market's recent gains are a thing of the past.
A renewal of U.S.-China trade tensions dealt a body blow to the stock market on Friday. The Dow plunged almost 880 points for a loss of close to 2%. The Nasdaq fell 3.5%. The S&P tumbled more than 2.5%. China's newly announced restrictions on rare earth materials exports and President Trump's threat of 100% tariffs on Chinese imports in response to what he calls a hostile act sent the market into a tailspin. Rich Thomason, Washington.
Estonia has temporarily closed a road passing through Russian territory after reports of Russian soldiers standing in it. Estonia's public broadcaster reporting today that the closure followed border guards observing a larger than usual Russian unit standing in the road. The Estonian Border Agency says the closure of the Sastebut is necessary for safety. The area is a small part of Russia extending into Estonia. British police have arrested 2 men on suspicion of murder after former Lost Prophets singer Ian Watkins was stabbed to death in a northern English prison. Watkins was serving a 29-year sentence there for child sex offenses. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Hey, it's Mike Gallagher, host of The Mike Gallagher Show. I don't mess around when it comes to saving you money. Right now, rates have dropped to the lowest level in over a year and a half. That means if you bought your home or refinanced in the last 3 years, you could be saving hundreds of dollars every month. Lower your rate, lower your monthly payment, even kick that pesky PMI to the curb. And get this, you can skip 2 full months of mortgage payments. But that's not all. Fellowship Home Loans just rolled out something incredible. Their very own HELOC and lines of credit. Approval in just 5 minutes. Money in your account in as little as 4 days. It's the easiest system you've ever used. You can do it yourself online. Whether you want to pay off bills, tackle a home project, cover education, or even a wedding, Fellowship Home Loans makes it simple to leverage the money that's already sitting in your house. Just go to fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, fellowshiphomeloans.com/Mike G, or call 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-MIKE, 800-510-6453. Fellowship Home Loans, mortgage lending guided by the book.
Nationwide Mortgage Bankers, DBA Fellowship Home Loans, Equal Housing Lender, NMLS number 819382.
Former Sheriff Richard Mack recounts in his book The Proper Role of Law Enforcement, how he came to realize while working as a beat cop how wrong the all-too-common orientation of police officers is when they think of their job as being to write tickets and arrest people. Richard Mack tells of his personal transformation from by-the-number cop to Constitution-conscious defender of citizen safety and freedoms. Learn what it really means to serve and protect. Purchase your copy at CSPOA.org. That's CSPOA.org.
Get ready to be part of something incredible. We're breaking barriers and delivering the powerful stories that mainstream media won't touch. Your support is what fuels our mission to revolutionize journalism and bring you the truth. Join our passionate community of changemakers by donating at libertynewsradio.com today. Together, we're creating the future of news.
You know where the solution can be found, Mr. President? In churches, in wedding chapels, in maternity wards across the country and around the world. More babies will mean forward-looking adults, the sort we need to tackle long-term, large-scale problems. American babies in particular are likely going to be wealthier, better educated, and more conservation-minded than children raised in still industrializing countries. As economist Tyler Cowen recently wrote, quote, "By having more children, you're making your nation more populous, thus boosting its capacity to solve climate change. The planet does not need for us to think globally and act locally so much as it needs us to think family and act personally. The solution to so many of our problems, at all times and in all places, is to fall in love, get married, and have some kids."
All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Eldon Stahl, Sam Bushman. We're talking about this issue about, hey, you know what, government shut down, they're 14 days, 8 votes in, deadlocked. The only answer to go forward is single issue, straight up and down votes, and hold those responsible. We're going to fund the traffic air controller checks, okay? They're going to get paid, folks. They do a vital service for the country. Let's get it done. Here's the bill. Are you for it or against it? And if you're against it, absolutely use the media, and not literally, but hey, publicly in the media, the court of public opinion, crucify those people. Just say, have you lost your mind? Why would you vote against the air traffic controllers? What have they done to you? You're destroying the whole country. Flights are delayed. Problems are occurring everywhere because you clowns have a political agenda. Stop. We will absolutely make you pay next election. You are gone. And I don't mean crucify in a literal sense, folks. I'm just talking about the court of public opinion. If you vote against common sense things like that, shame on you. If you vote against the traffic controllers, if you vote against common sense paychecks, you need to be absolutely exposed as who you really are. You're a political hack with a hostile agenda to the nation. And that needs to stop. Eldon, am I too crazy?
Well, I'm glad that you clarify that you're not for literally bringing back crucifixions. That's probably a good thing. But yeah, it's, there are certain things that we probably need to fund, right? just for necessity.
The military not getting their checks. What kind of a deal is that? Now, I'm not really for the big military expenditures that we have now. I don't believe we need to spend, what is it? How much do we spend a year on it? $1 trillion on the military or some crazy number? Okay, I'm not for all that, but at the same time, not giving these people their paychecks, you either need to let them go and let them find a job in the private sector or pay them. Okay? Why can't you go to the bathroom in a national park because it's closed? Why can't you get a hold of, the press secretary because it's closed? And these people don't get paychecks, but yet Congress just merrily gets paid? And we have got to get incensed, and I don't mean any violence of any kind, but we have got to get to where we're just like, we're not going to take this garbage anymore. It's insanity.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. It's used. I was just looking up. I think it was like 18 different government shutdowns we've had in the last 40 years. I mean, the world did not end, but just a few years ago, there's this shutdown. I remember it was in South Dakota. And I think it was Kristi Noem that was the governor at the time, and she just decided, well, Mount Rushmore, we can just have state agencies run that while the National Park Service is shut down, and
Utah did that too with Zion National Park and a few others.
Yeah, right. So it's like, well, why do we even have the National Park Service? We could do this with the states, and really, it's. You look in the U.S. Constitution, there's no authority for the federal government to be running parks like that anyway.
Or food programs or any of these kinds of things. Yeah. So faith over federal aid, ladies and gentlemen. Replace SNAP with church-led compassion. That's what I'm saying. And I know this, me going off and saying, hey, man, they need to be crucified in the press. I know that's a very incendiary term. But I'm using it on purpose because what is it going to take for the American people to say, we're not going to advocate for violence. We reject violence. We're not going to do anything harmful. But yet at the same time, why won't Mike Johnson bring up single issue bills like I'm talking about? Okay. Why can't we fund the traffic controllers? And if we can't fund them, then who needs to be, we need a list of those who are against it. It's a single bill. We vote to give traffic controllers their paychecks during the shutdown. We fund it. Here it is. Now, anybody who votes against that single issue needs to absolutely be in the court of public opinion, pardon the pun, taken to the woodshed on this thing. Going, are you out of your mind? Why do you want to paralyze society? It's going to start to affect the economy in big ways. And all we're going to do is play the blame game and point at the other party because the other party's the bad guys. You guys have both led us like lemmings over a cliff, for crying out loud. Stop it. Okay, people need to start getting in the face of congressmen and senators and being polite, being very direct, though, and saying, look, you know what, Mike Johnson, why are you telling people to go home? Waiting on the Senate? Okay, stop the stalemate. move forward one line item at a time, right? Anyway, Eldon, I don't mean to be too crazy, but even the bears are hungry. I kid you not, black bear breaks into family home. Check this out, then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Walking into your kitchen only to find a bear making itself at home. A black bear had wandered inside a family's house and started exploring. Instead of showing aggression, it went straight to the fridge and started raiding the pantry. It then climbed onto the counter, scouting another entry point for its next visit. Black bears are incredibly powerful, and luckily this encounter stayed calm. The way it left, opening the door and letting itself out, just goes to show that a locked door is the best way to keep out any kind of intruder.
There you go, Eldon. What do you say? Even the bears are hungry nowadays, buddy.
Bears are, yeah, they are very resourceful, very smart. If they can get some food, get in, they'll do it. So we got to be careful. We were just studying about bears with my son in his biology class. Talked about
Literally
bears.
heads straight for the fridge, wants some food, then opens the door to get out. I mean, how do these bears do this stuff? But if a bear can literally open a door and bail out of a house and know that food's in the fridge and all this kind of stuff, the least we could do is have Christian values and take care of our own. That's what I'm saying. They say, don't feed the bears. How about a headline that says, don't feed the bears, but feed your neighbor? You know, I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Person's
right.
got to be careful with the bears.
All right, there's this guy. He's now a felon, Eldon. Headline says a Texas man is facing felony charges, accusing him of breaking into America First Field. I guess after hours, he broke into a refrigerator. He stole a Diet Coke, buddy. KSL.com with the story. So this guy's now facing felony charges because he broke into that sucker and stole a Coke.
So you would think there'd be more to it than that. He broke in. Okay, breaking and entering, I guess, is a felony?
I guess so, yeah. But, you know, he stole a Coke.
Okay.
My only response to this is, Coke. I mean, what the heck is happening? Look, we've got people getting out of jail for murder and rape and pillage and plunder release over and over and over. And this guy's got felony charges for stealing a Coke?
Yeah, I mean, if it were like a squirt or, 7-Up or something,
Pepsi.
probably. Yeah,
If it was a Pepsi now, it'd be different.
It's just a Coke. Come on.
Anyway, I just find that interesting, though, that really, I mean, this guy, now I'm not endorsing breaking into anything. I'm just saying that, felony charges because he stole a Coke. Maybe Wick isn't doing Coke anymore. I mean, giving people Cokes anymore.
I don't know. Well,
it's just very, very strange. All right.
Yeah.
Do you know what riffs are, Eldon?
Musical riffs, you mean?
No, we're not talking electric guitar, buddy. You got to get out of the hippie days and into the government days, my friend. Riffs are reduction in force, my friend.
Oh, reduction in force.
Yes, sir.
All right.
They're underway, they say, across federal agencies. The question is, will it be enough? Donald's laying people off. The Democrats are loving it. They're saying the more he lays everybody off, the more we'll gain the upper hand. They're playing political games. Government, agencies are getting shut down. Kash Patel, for example, fires FBI agents. Shut down the Bureau's public corruption squad. Anthony Gonzalez with the piece. Resist the mainstream. And we're really talking about they're shutting down, employees are getting laid off and let go. And Donald says he's going to keep it up. I don't know what's really going to happen with all this, but I think a lot of these riffs, reduction in forces, I mean, that ought to happen like on a yearly basis, just out of natural, we're going to make sure that we're lean and mean. I mean, to me, they ought to put something in place where it's like, hey, we're going to reduce the force by 10% yearly.
Yeah, for many, many years, it's been augmentation of force. It's just growing and growing and growing, and some agency you never heard of has tens of thousands of people working for them, and you're like, well, what do they actually do? And they're like, well, but doesn't this other organization?
Well, they used to work from home and they weren't doing anything, Eldon. That's why we brought them back in the office,
At least they are required to come to the office now.
But if we got along with them not doing anything before and working from home, why do we even need them?
Right. There's
all right.
Good point.
Hang tight. Redneck TV and Radio continues. I'm Sam Bushman. Eldon Stahl with me. He's with the John Birch Society. JBS.org, thenewamerican.com, their incredible magazine. Back in seconds.
Do you know what is great about America? Ask an Immigrant. Ask an Immigrant is a new podcast dedicated to helping Americans, especially our youth, value, appreciate, and be grateful for the freedoms we have here in America. Join host Lydia Wallace Nuttall as she interviews immigrants from around the world to discover their inspiring personal stories about why they came to America. To learn more about why America is the most prosperous, greatest country in the world, download the Loving Liberty app or go to lovingliberty.net.
In the medical field, IT security is crucial. Our highly skilled consultants are HIPAA certified and have 20-plus years of experience servicing medical clinics, billing, and supply companies. We offer comprehensive endpoint protection, guarding your computers and servers against all stages of threats. And with our 24/7 monitoring services, you'll never worry about extensive downtime again. Ready to level up your IT support? Call 801-706-6980 today and discover how great IT services can be with Managed IT Services.
The Foundation for Moral Law is a nonprofit legal foundation committed to protecting our unalienable right to publicly acknowledge God. The Foundation for Moral Law exists to restore the knowledge of God in law and government and to acknowledge and defend the truth that man is endowed with rights not by our fellow man, but by God. The Foundation maintains a twofold focus. First, litigation within state and federal courts. Second, education, conducting seminars to teach the necessity and importance of acknowledging God in law and government. How can you help? Please make a tax-deductible contribution, allowing Foundation attorneys to continue the fight. You may also purchase various Foundation products as well at morallaw.org. Located in Montgomery, Alabama, the Foundation for Moral Law is a nonprofit, tax-exempt 501c3 founded by Judge Roy Moore. Please partner with us to achieve this important mission. morallaw.org.
You can turn it up now. You got to turn it up. All right, back with you live, ladies and gentlemen. Sam Bushman, Eldon Stahl on your radio and TV. So FBI Director Kash Patel has been speaking out on a variety of issues as of late. He was on Joe Rogan's show a couple of weeks ago. He revealed several significant allegations, which I wanted to bounce off you, Eldon, to see your thoughts on this. Kash claims that multiple Catholic churches have been targeted by the Biden administration. So there you go. We knew this, but when Kash says it, the question becomes, will it ratchet to the next level and turn into accountability, or will it just be Kash babbles at the mouth and tells us another horrible thing from our government, and then nothing happens? What do you think?
Boy, I don't know on that, but I sure hope that he does bring some accountability here, because and if you're not part of the Catholic Church, you might have the tendency to say, "Oh, it's just the Catholic Church. It's not my church. It's not or organization that I belong to." Well, if they're doing this to the Catholic Church, that's the biggest denomination of Christians in the world and in the country. How are they not going to have power to do it to your church or your organization?
Yeah, it's kind of like if they can attack Donald, they can certainly attack Eldon or Sam, right?
Sure. So, we need to be very concerned about this. This is not something that we should take lightly and just say, well, it wasn't something that affected me. No, it will affect you if you are not careful. You look at,
and I'm begging Kash Patel to double down on accountability, ladies and gentlemen. This is something that this is just absolutely unacceptable in the history of our country. The Mormons got abused in the 1800s, big time. Now the Catholics are getting abused. Hey, we need to be no respecter of persons and protect God-given inalienable rights and the freedom to worship how, where, what we may. And this idea that we're going to, deal with this, Catholic thing, we've got to take action. Also, Kash Patel says that the FBI has now seized computers and devices from Dr. Anthony Fauci over the COVID-19 origins. Will he get to the bottom of something there?
Maybe. At least some steps are being taken to look into and gather information. It seems, at least. He's been in government for decades and decades. If there is some accountability, it will be probably late, but better late than never, as they say.
Amen.
Yeah.
Now, it seems like Rand Paul is at the tip of the spear on this one, too. Rand Paul pushing for accountability for Anthony Fauci. We need more senators to jump on that as well, in my humble opinion. Kash also speaks out on a couple of other things that I find quite interesting that I thought I'd tell you about. Patel also directed an investigation into a secret room maintained by James Comey. They say it may contain critical evidence on Russiagate. Are we going to get anything on that one?
Secret rooms, that seems to indicate that somebody was trying to cover something up, you would think, right? I don't know how secret to who, but if you're keeping secrets, at the FBI building from the FBI, then I don't know what you even say about that, but sounds like there's some issues there, right?
Yeah, very interesting indeed. The last interesting revelation from Kash Patel, well, there's two more, I guess. One more is this. Turns out that Kash Patel's house was swatted.
Really?
You familiar with this swatting stuff?
Yeah, I've heard of that. I hadn't heard of him being swatted, but
just for anybody listening, if you don't know what swatting is, they basically have modern day phone lines that are all on the internet, or they're IP, Internet Protocol phone lines. Voice over IP is what it's called, or audio over IP sometimes, but VoIP, voice over Internet Protocol or whatever. And what happens is that you can fake the origins of a call. And so you can call from Sam's house or Eldon's house, even though you're not there, but you can trick the systems into believing that you're calling from their house, and you can plead for the cops to come for an emergency. People are getting shot. There's blood everywhere. Who knows what they say? Crazy, psychotic, out of control things. And then what happens is the cops come to your house. It's called a SWAT. And it's very, very dangerous indeed. And several people have been swatted over the years. But now Kash Patel revealed that his house had been swatted. And then he warned of potential political repercussions, including impeachment and obstruction of FBI investigations if Democrats gain the Congress. I understand what he's saying, and I don't disagree, because the Democrats, they were coming after us before Trump took over and kind of changed the game. They'll do it again. So I'm not really a partisan, point the finger at the other party guy, Eldon. At the same time, you wonder if you get somebody rabid like, Nancy Pelosi and AOC in there, or Bernie Sanders and AOC, or who knows who. Whatever, Omar and AOC. I mean, just radical, extreme. You wonder what they would really do. I mean, Trump has taken a lot of effort to go after them in more ways than he's ever had or ever has. But at the same time, you wonder, will they just ratchet it up and go after everybody? I don't know. I pray the answer is no. But you know what? There's something to what they're saying that makes me think this is probably more real than not. Your thoughts?
Yeah, well, in the last 10, 15 years, it seems to me that the level of agitation to radicalism, to, ends justifies the means, by any means necessary, whatever, left-wing radicals are stirred up, it's become such a danger now that these people get in power and they're not only unified, but they're also determined to do whatever. It doesn't matter, the morality side of it, their sense of morality as well. If it furthers the revolution, then it's justified. And we're getting so many of these people that it's very dangerous if they get in power.
Yes. Kash Patel also testified a little bit ago, several weeks ago, before the Senate Judiciary Committee on Capitol Hill. I guess it was September 16th, 2025. So I guess getting close to a month ago. Wow, time flies. Anyway, in that testimony or whatever, Patel confirmed the FBI is investigating over 1,700 domestic terrorism cases, attributing the increase to a 300% rise in such cases this year compared to 2024. That number is staggering. He highlighted a focus on what they call nihilistic violent extremism and mentioned an online extremist network called 764 targeting children. I mean, it's crazy town, folks. Patel also addressed the investigation of AI-generated child porn or sexual abuse material, if you will, stating that it's treason. I mean, it's treated with the exact same severity as actual child abuse material. So AI abuse material will be treated the same as true abuse material. Not treason, sorry, treated. On allegations of FBI participation, Patel denied any terminations of agents were influenced by the White House. He further denied any directives from the White House attacking any groups or individuals. Regarding FBI involvement in immigration enforcement, Patel acknowledged, yes, indeed, he reallocated agents to deal with these issues, but he feels comfortable with current staffing levels and priorities. During the testimony, of course, confrontations occurred. Democratic senators questioning the FBI's priorities and, talked about Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein and all these different high-level things. And Kash Patel just casually said, hey, we don't have any political motivations in these determinations. We're just working on it. When the law is broken, we'll take action. Key takeaways from Kash Patel's Senate testimony. 1, over 1,700 domestic terrorism cases are currently being investigated. 2, the AI-generated sexual abuse stuff. 3, Patel refuted claims of FBI involvement in attacking groups or people they disagree with. The FBI has freed up assigned agents to focus on immigration and street crime. And 5, Patel handled the confrontations with the Democratic senators without a hitch. He did very well, they claim, before the FBI. My only question is, will anything really get done? I appreciate the efforts and the stances, but man, you've got to do something for reals. When we get back, I think we'll have Richard Mack with us, radio side, so we're looking forward to that. We apologize for all the technical difficulties there. Reality when it's live, right? Just got to understand that. Thanks for your patience and understanding. I'm Sam Bushman. Eldon Stahl's with me. Yeah, Eldon Stahl with the John Birch Society, jbs.org, thenewamerican.com, and I'm Sam Bushman, syndicated by Loving Liberty Networks, lovingliberty.net. Spread the word, share the love, and God save the Republic of the United States of America.